Part 3.
You know what? Oh, we're recording?
Yeah, that's all right.
You know what? You talk about turning a team around.
Oh yeah, you could. Part 3 of Full Court Press Basketball Debate. As you can hear, Yvonne Juno here with Chris Guyette. David Blatt. Quote, the Cavs must finish in second place. Yvonne, two-part question here. Why would he say this? And do you agree or disagree? And why?
Of course I agree, but in what context did he mean it?
That's what I'm asking you. Why would he say this?
Because they should finish in second place. They have the skill and the ability, and there's no reason that they shouldn't.
Okay.
I think this, if he said this, if I was to read between the lines of this, I would say that he said this as a challenge to the team. Okay?
I can see
like, there's no excuses, guys, that y'all should not finish in second place.
that. Okay, I can see that.
You got the talent, you got the manpower, there's no reason they shouldn't. Why wouldn't they?
Okay.
Unless they totally screw up and get lazy and decide not to do what they need to do.
I can see that.
Of course I agree with this.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with this.
Okay.
If they have the talent and the ability to finish
Then
in
you're
second
going to
place,
say, why can't they finish in first?
why not aim for first?
Well,
It seems like we're aiming for second here. And there's nothing wrong with aiming for second. But if you got LeBron James on your team...
Wait a minute, though. Whoa. I don't know the lineup here. Is it possible for them to end up in first?
Sure it is. And now Atlanta would have to lose. Which they have been doing.
Okay. But maybe when Blatt said that, he was thinking Atlanta's already got it sewn up, so...
Why would any opposing coach think like that? Then he's thinking the wrong way. Is he not?
True. If that's what he's... Yeah, if that's why
Atlanta's lost 3 straight.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I
if you got the talent and the experience...
So they're not locked in.
Well, they're locked into the playoffs. But they're not locked into the number 1 seed. Cleveland's only 5.5 games behind them. For the number 1 seed.
I didn't realize how far behind.
Let me not... There's nothing wrong with what he said.
Right.
I'm reading further into this because I know LeBron James. LeBron don't like second best. LeBron
then maybe
wants to
that's
be
why he
the
said
best.
Well, wait. Maybe that's why Blatt said it. As a challenge.
But that's not a challenge because you're already in second place. If you want to challenge your team, you say, guys...
We're already in second. Why can't we make first?
That's right. Go take that first place position. The more Cleveland wins, the more Atlanta is going to be pressured to have to win. The closer Cleveland gets to Atlanta...
So what you're saying is the way you read this...
He didn't say anything wrong.
No, but in a roundabout way...
He's got the wrong goal in mind.
In the roundabout way, he's telling them that, oh, well, I already know y'all are not going to make first, so let's shoot for second.
It's harsh, but that's basically what I'm saying.
Well, then shame on him for doing that.
I agree. It's not wrong what he said. It's not. I'm saying go for the peak.
If that's what he meant, it is wrong.
Go for the peak.
Yeah, but if that's what he meant, that is wrong.
Now,
he
could have said it better.
Wait a minute. This could just piss LeBron off enough to pull everybody aside and say...
See, he could have said it better. He could have said...
It's not what
He could have said, we have to finish in at least second place.
Yeah.
The fact that you say we have to finish in second place, why second? Why not go for first? You got the talent. You got the ability.
So...
Come on.
So, the option is still there?
Oh, yeah.
There is still a chance.
2 weeks ago, there was no chance. Because Atlanta had an 11.5 game spread.
Okay, but is that when he said this?
No.
When did he say
A week ago, when Atlanta lost their first of 3 straight. Atlanta's lost 3 straight games, and Cleveland is on a win streak.
Closing the gap.
So that gap is now 6 games. 6
I'm
games.
just trying to give this man the benefit of the doubt.
I am giving him the benefit of the doubt.
When he thought there was no chance.
I am giving him the benefit of that. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with finishing in second.
No.
There's nothing wrong with what he said. I'm afraid he's got the wrong goal in mind.
Yeah.
Vlade Divac. Okay? For those of you who don't know, who Vlade Divac is, in the late 80s, early 90s, and early 2000s, he had about a 15, 16-year career. Very good big man. Played for Sacramento, played for the Lakers. Most famously, Sacramento. Very good big man. He played with the likes of Peja Stojakovic, who we love very well here in New Orleans.
Yes.
And Mike Bibby and Doug Christie and Chris Webber. That was that famous Sacramento team. Quote, DeMarcus Cousins is the most talented big man I've ever seen. Yvonne, your thoughts on the quote?
Well, forgive me out there. That's a matter of opinion. You know what opinions are like. Assholes, and they all stink. I totally disagree. I'm not saying Cousins is the worst, but I definitely would not go out on a limb and say that he is the best big man I've ever seen. Give me a break. I would not go that far. Now, everybody's got their own perception of things, and everybody sees something in people that not necessarily that other person sees. But this, I would definitely not put Cousins as the best big man I've ever seen.
Okay.
I don't know this guy. I don't know what made him say this. I don't know.
Let's start with the fact that Vlade Divac became famous in Sacramento, where DeMarcus Cousins
Well,
plays.
that has a lot to do with it.
And he is an avid Kings fan, as he should be. And
Yeah.
that had a lot to do with what he
Well,
said.
of course it did. That's his alma mater.
But I am insulted. I am insulted because I know that Vlade Divac is a smarter man than this. Vlade Divac has a little bit of a history with a guy named Shaquille O'Neal. In the 2000 and 2001.
Good history or bad?
Wait, in the 2000 and 2001 West Finals, it was Sacramento versus the Lakers. Therefore, came the matchup of Divac versus Shaq.
Okay.
And Shaq just destroyed Divac.
Okay.
And Divac has made it known that he is still hurt by that.
Okay.
And he's got a vendetta against Shaq.
Get over it.
I agree.
Get over it.
I'm insulted because he knows better than this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make a big deal out of this, but I'm interested to see part B. Who's yours?
Of all time?
The most talented big man you've seen. And why?
In his prime, I'd have to say Shaq.
Shaq?
Yeah. Not at the end when he weighed 80 pounds too much and just stood in the middle of the floor and was used as a trampoline. But in his time, I mean, I could name several. But Shaq is definitely way up there at the top of the list.
Shaq's in my top 3. He's not my number 1.
Okay.
My number 1 is Papa's number 1. Bill Russell.
Well, now see, I don't know.
See,
the
I
Bill
didn't
Russell
watch Bill
era.
Russell either. Okay?
I don't know.
But I do
I know the name. I know who he is. I know how great he was. But
I do know.
I don't
it comes
know
down to
what
one
he
thing.
played like.
Shaq was a specimen.
right.
Shaq, when he came out of college, Shaq at LSU, by the way, let's not forget.
Right.
Okay, Shaq was 7'1", 280 when he came out of college. Okay, he was a specimen, and that had a lot to do with how good he was. Was he talented? Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah.
But his size
Oh my God.
was an extreme
Intimidation
advantage.
factor.
Okay?
Yeah.
The thing about Bill Russell, he was only 6'9".
Mm-hmm.
He played the center
Mm-hmm.
position. He didn't play forward.
Okay.
Center. At 6'9". That'd be like LeBron
Yeah.
playing center.
Yeah.
Okay? 6'9". You ready for this? 230 pounds.
He was one big muscle.
He was like this.
Yeah, he was a solid muscle.
230? D Wade weighs 215.
I know.
And dominated Wilt Chamberlain every time they played against one another. And Wilt was 7'1", 260. Okay, it's talent. That is talent. So if you want to talk about the most talented big man you've ever seen, I gotta put Bill Russell up there. Of course Shaq goes up there. How about Karl Malone? How about Hakeem Olajuwon? How about Patrick Ewing, who could hit threes at 7 foot 300
I
pounds?
remember him.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay.
You got some good ones playing today.
How about Tim Duncan?
Yep.
I mean, David Robinson.
Right.
There are so many. Bill Russell's my number one.
Okay.
Shaq would probably be my number two. Followed by Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin Garnett. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, but
In his own way, even though I don't like him, Jordan needs to be in there too.
but come on. Anthony Davis is better than DeMarcus Cousins by a mile.
AD needs to gain some weight.
Come on. Vlade Divac, please shut up. Please shut up.
Okay?
Russell Westbrook, quote, "The MVP race doesn't matter to me." Yvonne, your thoughts?
Ooh, we could talk for 3 days about this.
Got a lot to say about this one?
No, I'm going to sum it up.
Uh-oh.
I think that's his head and his mouth talking, but I don't think that's his heart talking. I think he's afraid to get himself all worked up and hyped up about it and get his hopes built up, and it's not going to happen.
And that's smart, because that's exactly what's going to happen.
I know that's exactly what's going to happen because we have discussed this ad nauseum, and I think it's a shame. So to save face, to save embarrassment, and to keep his head on straight to where he can still make his triple doubles and still make his 30, 40, 50 points, he's doing the right thing for himself. For the team, yes, but for himself. He's not getting all wrapped up in his head.
For his reputation.
He's not getting it all wrapped up in his head about, I got to make that basket. Not to win the game, but so that I can be the MVP. He's got to separate the two. And I think it's a shame. And last year, what I thought about Westbrook versus what I think about Westbrook this year is like night and day.
I'm going to take a quote from Yvonne Juno right here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Can Russell Westbrook get any better?
He's awesome. He's Awesome.
This is the best thing he could have said.
Yeah.
This is the best thing
Yeah.
he could have said.
This was the most politically correct thing he could have
The
said.
best thing he could have
Do
said.
I honestly, in my heart, believe that he meant that 100%?
He meant that 95%.
No.
He meant that 95%.
But there's that little
And you know what that is?
hope.
That's want.
Of course, it's desire.
Right.
Hope. Want. Desire. And if he wouldn't want it, shame on him.
Right.
Because he's done enough to deserve it.
He's done way
He's
more.
playing on the floor right now with a Jason mask on.
We'll talk about the MVP race. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that quote. Charles Oakley. For those of you who don't know who Charles Oakley is, NBA legend. Played with Michael Jordan. Was on championship teams. Very good big guy. Power forward. Quote, guys don't play with their heart nowadays. Yvonne Juno. Agree or disagree? And why?
Both.
What do
I
you mean?
agree and disagree. I think it depends on the person we're talking about. I don't think you can sum that up. I don't know who this jerk is. And I don't know who this guy is, so maybe I'm making a rash judgment here. But that's the same thing as lumping everybody up into one category. You cannot honestly tell me that you take two players and put them side by side. Okay?
Give examples. Tell us what you're talking about. Use examples. Because I think we're on the same track here. Two players. Give examples. I think we're on the same track here.
Russell Westbrook is the perfect example.
Okay. Versus.
I don't know. I'm just using him as one extreme versus another.
Okay.
Okay? You cannot tell me somebody like Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo, Russell Westbrook, Tony Parker. You cannot tell me that those kind of guys versus a point guard that's out there to make a paycheck, do his job, but not take it 150% of the way.
Uh-oh.
And will play injured, will play hurting, will play with fever, will play when they're down 20, 25 points, will play till that final whistle blows or the bell goes off. They will play till the very last drop of sweat is dripping off the end of their nose. You cannot tell me that guys like that are not playing with heart. You can't lump everybody up like this in one category and say that the guys from yesteryear played so much better and with more heart than the days of today. I think you have to take this on an individual person status to be able to just, that's like comparing apples and oranges. I don't know who this guy is, but I think he's wrong. 100%.
You want the perfect example? You're going to sit there and tell me that Kobe Bryant doesn't play with heart?
Exactly. 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 Exactly.
Kobe Bryant doesn't play with heart?
Kobe Bryant doesn't play with anything but heart.
LeBron James? Yeah, he got his money, but he's earning it.
Well, I can give you a really good example that I'm sure is going to offend somebody out there. Take the two Gasol brothers. Mark's good, but there's no comparison with when Pal gets out there
And I'll give you
and
the
he
ultimate
decides that he is going to go and he is going to play. I've seen Pal play to where it looks like he's about to fall down.
I will give you the ultimate example. You want to talk Allen Iverson? We're going to talk Allen Iverson. And if you don't believe me, Look it up, Charles Oakley. In 1999, this was 3 years after AI got drafted, right? 3 years. He got drafted in 96. And we know that a rookie's contract expires after 3 years, after 2 or 3 years. Okay? Just as Anthony Davis's contract is going to expire after this year. It's already been 3 years that he's been with us. Okay? Which is why we need to look to re-sign him in the offseason. Okay?
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So,
There any talks about there about
oh yeah,
going
we can offer him the most money that any team can.
Are you sure?
We can offer him more money than any other team in the league.
How is that possible when places like the
Because
Lakers
our salary
and
cap,
whatever
our
hasn't been a salary cap?
our salary cap is bigger for next year. Long term, the others are bigger, but for next year, ours is bigger.
Would he take Kobe's place if Kobe retires?
No, he would not. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Back to what I was saying. At the end of 1998, Allen Iverson's contract with Philadelphia expired. They then offered him, and he was not Allen Iverson yet. Okay?
Right.
He was Allen Iverson, he was not AI yet.
I understand what you mean by that.
Okay. In 1999, Philadelphia offered Allen Iverson a 4-year, $63 million contract. While the Orlando Magic offered Tracy McGrady a 5-year, $131 million contract.
Where's the fairness in that?
Yet AI won MVP in 2001. AI led his team to the finals in 2001 and won a game in the finals. AI was 4 times, all 4 years of that contract, he was first team All-NBA. Tracy McGrady was great his first 2 years and then fell off the map. And you know what's good about the first 2 years of a contract? That's the guaranteed money. With a contract comes a guaranteed amount of money. Tracy McGrady got his guaranteed money and fell off the face of the planet.
What happened?
Well, it started with a little bit of an injury. It was a little injury spell, and then he was just never the same. He didn't give it the effort that he needed to.
No.
But AI got $70 million less than T-Mac did.
No.
But you're going to sit there and tell me that AI didn't play with heart?
No.
What else did AI play with then?
No.
But the biggest example I can give you is Kobe Bryant. You're going to sit there as an NBA legend, Charles Oakley, that won rings with Michael Jordan, that man played with more heart than anybody I've ever seen.
Who, Michael?
Yes!
Yes.
The flu game.
Yep.
Need I remind you?
No. They had to physically carry him off the court.
Scottie Pippen was holding one arm.
Yep.
You know who else was holding the other arm? Charles Oakley.
Yep.
And you're going to sit there and say something boneheaded like this? You want to talk about shut your mouth. Rick Carlisle gives Rajon Rondo's play calling credit after a 30-point blowout of the Clippers. Now, this was a couple of weeks ago, but we never got to talk about it.
Right.
Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he should have. I think anytime a player does well, I think anytime a player goes above and beyond, I mean, what is there to discuss?
Oh, come on.
What?
Come on.
What do you want me to say?
The controversy about not letting Rondo call plays. Do you remember this?
Oh, that's what you want to talk about?
Come on.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but the reason I didn't bring that up is because pointed out to me the week that happened that that's probably why it did happen. I didn't know you wanted me to go there.
This
Yeah.
goes there. That
Yeah.
should go immediately there.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably why it did happen.
The shouting match between Carlisle and Rondo. Oh no, I
That
call the
made
plays
the
on this
media-
team.
yeah,
I call
yeah.
the plays.
Yeah,
But you lost that game.
right.
And then you play the Clippers. The Clippers!
Yeah.
This is not Minnesota we're talking about.
Don't dog Minnesota.
This is not
too
the
bad.
Knicks.
Right.
This is Chris Paul.
Right.
This is Blake Griffin.
Right.
This is DeAndre Jordan. This
Right.
is Doc Rivers.
Right.
This is the Clippers.
I understand.
And you say pregame, okay, Rajon, you're calling plays. And you win by 30. Imagine that!
Yeah, that's too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence.
Did I not say that Rondo
Yeah,
should
you
be calling
did.
plays from the very beginning?
You sure did. You sure did.
Because this was not an
Yep.
overtime win by 2 points.
Yep.
This
No,
was a blowout.
No. I agree.
There is a direct
I agree.
correlation.
I agree. You had that one nailed. I give you credit.
Imagine
yeah.
that.
Yeah. You're right. You were right. You were right. I didn't think it was going to make that big a difference.
Now, this is not directed toward you. This is directed toward Rick Carlisle. You're an idiot!
Yeah.
Should have been doing this from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Has the trend continued over
Yes.
the last couple of weeks?
Dallas has been winning.
Yeah. I thought so. Yeah. Yeah.
Duh!
Well, let me ask you a question, Chris. Do you think it took that blow up to make Carlisle realize, or do you think they had an after game,
I
or
think
like
that
the next
happened.
day
Yes.
they had a conversation?
You know what I think happened?
Rondo went to him and said,
Give me a
"Look."
chance.
And Rondo went to him and said,
That's exactly
"Look,
what happened.
give me a chance. Let me show you what I can
That
do
is exactly what
before
happened.
you run me in the ground and embarrass me out on the court."
That is exactly what
I
happened.
did what I thought I was right in the heat of the moment. I ended up changing the play. I knew it wasn't going to work. You're not even giving me the benefit of the doubt. Why did you bring me to this team if you're not going to let me make some decisions?
And you know why I think Rondo did that?
Well, because he should.
Because he's hard-headed.
Oh, he should.
He's hard-headed.
You've been
he's
telling me for
stubborn.
a very long time, which took me a very long time to understand, that the coach can stand on the sidelines and draw on his little dry erase board all he wants. Call out numbers, hold up fingers, holler out clues, and all that to tell them what play to do. But once the ball goes into motion,
Stuff changes.
well, the thing about it is, if you see that you can't make it work, that's kind of like the quarterback on the field.
That's right.
If you see that it's not going to work,
That's right.
somebody's got to change it.
I mean, come on.
And the coach can't call a
Wait.
timeout every time.
Wait, just follow me here. Where is the logic in this? All right. Whew. I'm going to give my point guard the chance to call plays. I'm not sure about it. He's got a ring with Boston. He's a top 5 point guard in the league. But I'm going to give him a chance. Let's see what he can do. Where's the logic in that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he had to think like that. He had to think like that.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff that I just said is nothing but factual information.
Right.
And when coaching an NBA team,
Well,
you can't overlook the facts.
Well, then obviously the blow up on the court needed to
Jesus
happen.
Christ.
It needed-
Imagine that.
It needed to happen then.
Imagine it. That'd be like saying, Chris Paul, you can't call plays.
Oh God.
Come on.
No.
Good
Tell
God.
Tony Parker he can't make
Yeah,
it
no
at
shit.
the last minute.
No shit. Imagine if Larry Brown got Allen
And
Iverson's
oh
big.
my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine if anybody said, "Hey, Pop, do you have a problem with Tony Parker making a change out on the court when it's time to make a play?"
No. Can you see Larry Brown in 2001 telling AI, "Hey, buddy, you can't call the plays"? AI would have been like, "Man, fuck you. I'm gonna call
You
the plays."
can't say that on
Excuse
the
my
air.
French. Excuse my French. But if I know anything about Allen Iverson, he would have
can't
said, "No, screw you. I'm calling the plays. I got us this far. Well, I'm gonna stop now."
Can you see Popovich being
But see,
told
Rondo is
that-
just as hard-headed as Iverson was.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Well, obviously it was meant to be.
So, Dwayne Wade loves March, Yvonne. And in case we forgot, Dwayne Wade is pretty good.
What's this 20?
His averages in March,
Oh.
26 points, 6.2 assists, 4.6 rebounds, 3.3 steals per contest. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Dwayne Wade. My name is Flash. I have 3 rings,
And I know what the hell I'm doing.
and you don't.
Right.
Your thoughts on D. Wade's March?
What do you want me to say?
There's a lot to be said about this.
Well, go right ahead. I think the facts speak for themselves.
To the people that said D. Wade was washed up,
Oh.
I don't think
We
so.
both knew that was just BS. There's
Come
nothing.
on.
There's no. The people that said that are stupid.
No, really. Come on. Come on. You want to talk about March Madness?
You want
D. Wade.
You want to talk about where would the team be without Dwayne? Huh?
Dwayne Wade loves
Where do we
March.
stand right now with Chris Bosh?
He's out for the season. He's out.
That is totally
He's
out.
not coming back till September.
All right. Do you think he's coming back?
Yeah, he's definitely coming back. He will be back in September. He will be fully ready
What
to go in
is
September.
what is keeping him out for the rest of the season?
The blood clots in the lungs, it's all precautionary.
I
Gotta make sure there's not another flare-up.
Okay. Are they gone? They dissolved him. He's healed.
Yes. But it's all precautionary now.
Okay. They don't
Can't
want
risk
him
another
to-
flare-up.
they don't- Well, he's not a spring chicken, and they don't want him to relapse.
That's right.
Okay, because then the team's held liable, and he could sue.
That's right.
Okay.
And D. Wade is proving that he is no spring chicken. But in March, there's a new egg that hatches.
Mm-hmm. You mean like the way Russell's playing better without Durant? How many games ago did I tell you? Dwayne can play without Chris, but Chris can't play without Dwayne.
Just like LeBron couldn't play without Dwayne.
Right,
Just like Dwayne could play without LeBron.
right.
What are we missing here, ladies and
Exactly.
gentlemen?
Yeah.
What are we missing
What's
here?
the common denominator here?
Come on, man. Dwayne Wade is the man.
Right,
Give me a break.
right.
Dwayne Wade is
Yeah.
still a top 3 shooting guard in this league.
You're not going to get any arguments out of me?
Cleveland is back in the playoffs for the first time since 2010. They locked
Yeah.
that up this past week with a big-time home win over Indiana, which you have a little story to tell about that game that you told me. I don't know if they know it, so why don't you go ahead and
Okay.
elaborate to them a little
I
bit.
watched the entire game because it was a very exciting, fascinating game. And they interviewed when the game was over because there was such a drastic change after halftime that when the game was over, they interviewed LeBron. They wanted to know what in the world had happened in the locker room and what in the world had happened to turn the game around so much. Well, come to find out, LeBron had been sick for a couple of days previously to the game, the 2 days prior. So all of his teammates, instead of letting him practice, they made him go to bed so he could rest up and he could feel better. It was like a little stomach bug, okay? So he was resting up. Well, it was a game time decision as to whether or not LeBron was going to play at all, and he decided that he thought he could at least start the game. He might not be able to play the whole game, but he would start the game. Well, they were down miserably. At halftime, went into the locker room, and his little boy called him, his 9-year-old son.
LeBron Jr.
LeBron
He's got 3
Jr.
of them.
Right. Little boy called him, asked him how he was doing. LeBron said, "Oh, bud, I think I'm going to be all right. How are you doing?" Because that evening, when the game was going on, LeBron was already upset, besides feeling bad, because his son was going to be giving a speech on stage at his school in front of the whole school. And LeBron was missing it. And the little boy told him, "Well, Dad, I'm not feeling too good right at the moment. My stomach hurts. I threw up a while ago." And he said, "Oh, son, I hope you don't have what I have." He said, "No, Dad, I'm not that kind of sick. My stomach just hurts because I'm scared." And LeBron said, "Well, it's normal to be scared, but you got to get over that." And was giving him the whole pep talk about get past your fear.
You can do it.
Right, you can do it. I believe in you and all that.
Check this out, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
LeBron told the person interviewing him after the game that at that particular moment there was a silence on the phone for about 2 or 3 seconds. And his son, 9-year-old son, told him, "Well, Dad, you know what? I'll make you a deal. If I can get up on the stage and I can give my speech in front of the whole school, then you can suck it up being sick and you can end up helping to win the game."
So awesome. And you know what happened? They won the game.
LeBron scored 16 points in just the 4th quarter.
Which LeBron James doesn't do.
Right.
LeBron has had a bad rap about him in the 4th quarter.
Right. Like he freezes.
And I have goosebumps right
Wait. And he got 16 points just in the 4th quarter. And if I'm not mistaken, my stats might be wrong, but he had it's either 3 or 4 3-pointers. 5 in the second half. And so the person interviewing him, which I don't remember her name, she said, "You've got to be kidding." He said, "No." He said, "I'm going to go home. I'm going to hug my son, and I'm going to tell him, hey, man, thanks for helping me win the game."
And I have goosebumps right now.
And I thought that was phenomenal.
I have goosebumps right now because
You know how much that goes to prove about that man? He's a family man. What he said and told his son, feeling as badly as he was.
Here's the thing. He didn't know that win would solidify a playoff spot.
No.
He didn't know that going into the game.
No, because
he didn't know what the other outcomes of the other games were going to be.
Exactly.
So you know why he did that?
Just for his son.
He did that for his son.
Absolutely. I'm just amazed at the fact that LeBron James is your father and you're 9 years old and you're on the other end of the phone telling him,
But see,
Dad, if I can suck it up and not be scared,
But is
then
that-
you need to suck it up and go out there and not be scared because of the way he's raising him.
that is LeBron James's personality.
Yep.
So back to the original point. That's just incredible to me.
Isn't that an incredible
They're back in the playoffs.
story?
He's an incredible man.
Well,
Okay? He's incredibly changed since his wife and kids.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
absolutely incredible. Congratulations, by the way, to that family. And congratulations to LeBron Jr. for killing it in middle school. Have you seen the highlights of LeBron James' son for his middle school team?
yeah.
For his city league team? Oh my God! Watch out! 15 years from now.
Congratulations to the little boy to have the guts to tell his dad that.
How did they do this? How are they back in the playoffs all of a sudden? How did they do this?
We just said how. Because LeBron's back on the team and they have a leader.
2010.
They got their act together.
2010.
They have a role model. They have a leader.
2010.
They were in the ditch for so long.
2010 was an important year. Kobe's last ring, his most recent ring, 2010. Chris Paul's final season in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And 2010 was the last time that LeBron James played for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm.
Because in 2011, he
went to
took his
Miami.
talents to South Beach.
Yep.
They did this because of some Herculean performances by Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
And how much he has improved is incredible.
Yep. Oh, he's phenomenal.
I've got to give Kevin Love some credit because he's finally starting
Yes. Oh my gosh.
to mold. I've got to give J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert some props.
Yeah, they're really coming together as a team.
I've got to give that front office credit for making those moves.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to give David Blatt some credit for sticking with it
Yeah.
in his first year.
Yeah, because I tell you what. Let me ask you a question before you finish. How would you like to have been David Blatt and have that as your first year with that kind of team, knowing LeBron's coming back for the first time? Talk about an insurmountable task.
There is a common denominator from the 2010 Cleveland Cavaliers
Yep.
and the 2015
Yep.
Cleveland Cavaliers. And that is LeBron James.
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to give him all the credit,
But he deserves most of it.
let's be honest.
The fact that he's there, he doesn't even have to play. The fact that he's there is going to bring the team together.
Oh, and he's so much calmer than he used to be. And he doesn't let his temper get the better of him like when he was there before.
So how far will they go in the playoffs? They're locked into the playoffs.
Yeah,
How far will they go?
they're going to go far.
Do you see them in the Eastern Finals?
Yes,
Over Atlanta?
yes,
Really?
they could.
So
Yeah,
you see Chicago, Cleveland?
yeah,
Because I do too.
yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that Chicago-Cleveland series is 6 or 7
Well,
games.
let me put it to you this way. If Atlanta continues on the track they're on now, it's a shoe-in.
I see Chicago-Cleveland in the Eastern Finals right now, and I see it in 6 or 7 games. And I would not be upset if either of those teams represented the East. But I don't think it matters who represents the East. I think we're going to have a Western champion this year.
Oh, yeah.
Again.
Again. Baby, the West is just too strong.
Speaking of the
Every
West,
year.
speaking of the West, I've been so excited to talk about this. San Antonio destroys Atlanta on the road. 114-95 was the final score, 19 points. What, if anything, did this game prove to you, Yvonne?
I have a question before I answer that.
Absolutely.
Was anybody out?
No.
Both teams were...
Both teams were completely and fully healthy. Even playing field.
And they played in Atlanta.
Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Final
Oh.
score was 114-95 Spurs.
Okay. And what do you want to know?
What, if anything, what did this game prove to you?
It proves that San Antonio is better than Atlanta.
Cool, that's a big statement. There are people out there that just lost breath.
Oh, well. San Antonio is better than Atlanta. Consistently, look at the stats. Come on. Okay, I'm not saying Atlanta's not good.
Because they're really
But
good.
let's look at the big picture here. San Antonio is better than Atlanta. I'm sorry.
Why don't you?
And
why don't?
And honestly, I think if you know you're going to play San Antonio, I think you get a little cramp in your stomach, and I think you get a little intimidation, no matter who you are.
Why don't you just go ahead and say it? Repeat what I've been saying since January, when people were starting to say San Antonio wouldn't repeat.
Oh, please.
And people were starting to
We
get
both
doubts.
said that at the end of last
But
year.
what did I say? Come March,
Uh-huh. After the right.
San Antonio. There's a common
There's a
misconception
whole different
that
mindset.
after the All-Star break,
After the
San
All-Star
Antonio
break.
flips it. That's not what happens. They flip the script in March.
Mm-hmm.
Come March, San Antonio goes poop, and every other team goes poop.
Right.
You do not mess with the San Antonio Spurs in March or in the playoffs, and that proves that experience wins every time. Every time, experience wins over skill. I don't care who it is.
But they have both.
Exactly.
They
And
have-
San Antonio and Atlanta has one.
They have experience.
That's why they're
Okay.
not going to get beat.
They have talent, and they have depth.
And coaching.
Okay.
And coaching.
But they got 4 for 4. It's kind of hard to beat those odds.
You don't. You don't.
Well,
You just don't.
I'm sorry that anyone
So-
I offended out there, I apologize, but I think San Antonio's better than Atlanta.
So how far will both of these teams go in the playoffs? We've made it pretty clear that San Antonio is going to repeat.
Yeah.
We both think that.
Yeah.
How far do you see Atlanta going? Because I think they're a definite candidate for the East Finals.
Yeah.
I think
absolutely.
I definitely see them getting past the first round, no matter who they play.
Yes.
Depending upon who they play in the second round is going to determine a lot for me.
Their opponent is going to make all the difference
Big
in
time.
the world.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because we could see
Who
a
do you see them having a problem with? I see Chicago.
if they play Chicago.
Right.
I could see them having I could see Atlanta having problems. I mean, because they're going to come into I think they're going to come into contact with a team like Washington, and I think Washington's going to give them hell. Paul
Okay.
Pierce's
If you had to
experience,
say the top 3 teams that you think are going to give them trouble,
but you have to look at who they could face. Okay, if they finish,
that's what I'm asking you.
if they finish as the 1 seed, they will
Okay.
definitely be playing the 8 seed, which right now is Boston. I don't think Boston gives them any problems.
No.
I think that
Well,
series
yeah, but
ends
you're
in.
basing everything on where it stands right
I
now.
think that series ends in 5 or 6 games.
Okay.
If that. Okay.
All right.
Then the next round, they'll be playing either. Right now, it would be Chicago or Washington.
Either one's going to
Either one is going to give them problems. More so, Chicago.
Yep, I agree.
But I think Paul Pierce's experience in the playoffs,
Chicago, if everybody's back.
either of them are going to give them problems.
If everybody's back.
I can see Atlanta as a viable candidate for the East Finals, but I think no matter who they play in
Do
the East
you
Finals,
agree
they'll
or
lose.
disagree with me, just for posterity purposes, that if Chicago does not have a fully loaded deck, that it's going to make a difference whether it's Chicago or Atlanta?
Chicago or Cleveland. I think if Derrick Rose is out, they can still beat
That's what I
Atlanta
meant.
in a 7-game series. I think if Derrick Rose is out, that they will not beat Cleveland in a 7-game series.
I agree.
If Derrick Rose plays, they'll beat him. If he
Okay.
doesn't, they won't.
Okay.
That's my view on it.
Okay.
I could be wrong because Cleveland still can't find a way to stop Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol can lead a team to a championship.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it with Kobe.
Yeah.
Okay, Jimmy Butler,
Yeah.
Taj Gibson.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Some quick news that I just received on my phone. Dwight Howard to return tomorrow for Houston.
Against?
At New Orleans.
Where?
At New Orleans.
Oh.
Dwight Howard returns.
Oh, he could have waited one more game.
It's all right, Anthony Davis will eat his lunch.
He could have waited one more game.
Yvonne, Milwaukee.
He could have waited one more game.
Come on, have some faith in AD. Milwaukee and
I
Brooklyn.
have faith in AD, but we need Ryan and Drew.
We do.
And-
but AD will eat Dwight Howard's lunch. Milwaukee and Brooklyn go to 3 overtimes.
I know, I couldn't believe it.
As the Nets win by 2. Your thoughts on this game? Phenomenal game.
Oh, it was a phenomenal game.
If I'm correct, it was 129-127 Brooklyn.
When was that?
Maybe Friday of last week? This last week?
Yeah. Where is
San
it?
Antonio, Milwaukee. Cleveland, Milwaukee. Let's see, where?
Milwaukee, Brooklyn.
There you go. We got 129-127. 3
2
overtimes.
points.
3 overtimes.
2 points. I couldn't turn the channel. I couldn't flip the channel. It was such an exciting game. So what do you want me to tell you?
I just your general thoughts on the game.
It was an awesome
phenomenal.
game. You know what I thought was the most impressive about that game? How Lopez found himself again.
Yeah, part B, Brooke Lopez, 33-16.
Oh, I didn't even see that on
Your
here.
thoughts?
Yeah, he found himself again.
Finally.
Yeah. He needs to do that in every game.
Finally.
He needs to do that in every
The
game.
better Brooke Lopez is, the better Brooklyn is.
Yeah,
With Joe Johnson and Darren Williams, come on.
yeah.
Okay, it's been 2 weeks. We finally get to talk about it. Kyrie Irving drops 57 in against San Antonio at home.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That is the most points dropped by any player this season.
Ladies
Your
and
thoughts?
gentlemen, it's the Kyrie Irving Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, he went to Duke.
It's the Kyrie Irving Show.
He went to
It
Duke.
kills me when the announcers say that.
He went to Duke.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Kyrie Irving
He
Show.
went to Duke.
Yep,
Duke, who by the way is in the Sweet 16.
yep,
Boom.
yep. What is there to say?
He's good.
Good?
He's good.
That's the adjective you would use to describe Kyrie Irving. He's phenomenal.
He's not quite elite yet, but he's great. He's
And whoa! What's your definition of elite?
top 5 in the league. Is elite.
This is close.
Oh, it's very close. It's very close. In fact, Kyrie Irving.
He's like walking the top of the fence.
In fact, Kyrie Irving's number 6 in the league right now, in my opinion.
It was awesome.
Hey, he's fantastic. He is.
Yeah.
I've loved him since he was in college.
Yep.
He was a phenom at Duke.
You'd never know by looking at him.
No.
Never.
Mm-mm.
Never.
And that's why he's so tricky.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis puts up 36 points, 14 rebounds, 9 blocks, 7 assists against Denver. Yvonne, your thoughts on that performance?
I'm not at all surprised. If we could just put about 40 or 50 pounds on him, it would be wonderful.
You're not surprised by this performance? Yvonne, that's 1 block and 3 assists away from a quadruple double. I am shocked. I'm not shocked that AD went for 36 and 14. I gotta admit, I was surprised by the 7 assists. Let's be honest. He's not known for his passing.
Okay, but I think AD can do anything.
I
if he
do
wants
too.
to.
But 7 assists, that's a career high.
Oh, I know that.
9
I know
blocks.
that. I'm not, but nothing that Anthony would do would surprise me, bud.
But it's shocking that one player can
Yeah.
get 9 blocks.
Yep. Yep.
That is shocking to me.
He had a hell of a night.
And what's even more shocking is that we lost
I know. That.
to Denver.
All right, and Chris, may I ask you a question?
In overtime.
Okay, and what does that tell you, Christopher? Because that tells me that the rest of the team was not pulling their load.
No, that tells me that we didn't show up in double overtime. That's what that game tells
That's
me.
what I'm talking about.
Nobody, including Anthony Davis, showed up in double overtime.
Don't you think he had done enough already?
Obviously not. They didn't win the game.
Somebody else said can't play the whole floor by
I
himself.
agree. But just because you put that up in 4 quarters and 1 overtime, don't mean you stop playing.
Against Denver.
That's
Really?
right. Exactly. Exactly.
Really?
It doesn't mean you stop playing.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Reggie Jackson goes for 23 and 20, and in the next game gets a triple-double. Your thoughts?
Lil Twig. Congratulations. That's all I can say. Now that, when you asked me about AD and I said I was not surprised, now Reggie Jackson doing that I was surprised.
You know what's even more shocking about that?
Yeah, that I was surprised.
That kid right there
Yeah.
was OKC's backup point guard
Yeah.
3 months ago.
Obviously the move did him some good.
You think?
You think?
A little stat here. First time that's been done since 1997 by Mark Jackson.
Really?
Yep. Part 3 ends here. Part 4, the final part, coming up next.